Cash discounting has really come a long way in the last few years. It really went from being kind of a crazy idea to being like this could work, but Visa's probably going to shut it down to 2020. There's kind of a feeling across the industry that, this is here for a while. This is going to stick around. And it's changed so rapidly. It's so interesting to me how much it's changed. And there's a lot of ideas that, I was a proponent of a year and a half ago that now I'm like, wow, that was so stupid. This is something that is changing rapidly. And one of the trends I'm noticing today is that the non-cash adjustment or the service fee on these cash discount programs is going away on the receipt. And I'll explain why in a second. But before I get there, let me say two things. Number one, I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice. I'm not, liable for you implementing this stuff. If you want to hire me as a consultant, I can help you out with some things. But these are my personal opinions, not the opinions of a professional attorney or legal expert in any way, obviously. The second thing is, I realize there's a lot of different programs out there today. There's non-cash adjustment programs where it's really an in-kind incentive under the Durbin Amendment. There's cash discounting. There's different things like that. Now, I'm not talking about surcharging here as much. This is just the cash discount programs, but I'm going to call them all cash discount for the purposes of this video. All right. So let me tell you about this for a second. So early on with cash discounting, the belief about compliance was that we wanted to make sure that we were abiding by all of the surcharge stipulations and rules. So the idea was, even though this is, we're like, it's not surcharging, but we're still going to make sure that we're not doing more than a 4% fee. We're still going to make sure that it's the fee is itemized on the receipt, and we're still going to do the sign at the point of entry and the point of sale. And so kind of the idea was, in the industry was like, okay, what we need to do is we need to make sure that our cash discount program is just as compliant as surcharging, except that, of course, we are giving a cash discount only for cash. So we're not giving the discount on debit. So that means the service fee or the non-cash adjustment is going to apply to signature debit, PIN debit, as well as credit. Now, if you don't understand what I just said, I've got plenty of other videos on this stuff, but I want to dive into this particular topic. What I've noticed is that the industry has kind of started to move away from that and kind of go, wait a second, why are we doing that? If it's not surcharging, then it's not surcharging. So it should actually be different. And one of the most common trends I'm seeing is this idea of removing the non-cash adjustment and the service fee, this idea of removing them from the receipt. Now, this is especially true with point of sale systems, but it's also true really with even credit card terminals, a lot of the PAX terminals and things like that, where I've seen apps on there and programs where what they're doing is they're saying, well, wait a second, if it's a cash discount, then really we should include the service fee in the subtotal. So what we can do is we can adjust our signage a little bit, and we can adjust the way the application is built so that when someone comes up, if they have an item that's $100 and we have a 3% non-cash adjustment, let's say, well, in kind of 2018, 2019, you would see a receipt that said $100, and then it said $3 non-cash adjustment, total $103. But what they're doing instead is they're saying, well, wait a second, really, the new subtotal is just 103. We don't want to separate that line item because the whole concept of a cash discount is that we are raising the regular price, and then if you pay with cash, you get a discount. So especially now that we have smart terminals and these kind of and these point of sale systems, now what we're able to do is make more of a compliant cash discount technology where if somebody pays cash, whether they pay cash or credit, the subtotal, the amount for that item is going to be raised by 3% or 3.99% or whatever it is. And then it's just going to not show a discount if they pay with a card. But if they do pay with cash, then it'll show that discount that takes them back down to that price. And so this is a really unique idea. And so the concept here, and the reason I think people have shied away from it is because, well, the sticker price on the shelf is now going to be different than the price that comes out of the terminal. And with surcharging, it says you have to itemize it on the receipt, which even that is kind of interesting because now New York says you can't itemize it on the receipt. It has to be included, so whatever. But this idea to me is we've kind of gotten away from that, and I really like the direction that the industry is going. And I even talked about it maybe 7 or 8 months ago as a concept that I don't know why more point of sale systems aren't doing this, and now a lot of them really are. So the idea is you get a point of sale system, and you're processing a payment, and if it's a credit or debit card, we're taking that percentage, that non-cash adjustment or service fee, and we are actually adding that into the subtotal. So we're adding it right into the total, And then what we're doing is if they pay with cash, then we're doing the discount as a separate line item, the cash discount. And if they don't pay with cash, then it's the subtotal. So the other thing about this that these changes take into consideration that I think our industry didn't fully grasp initially is that Visa is really not an enforcement agency. And so the problem with cash discounting and where you run into compliance issues, it all stems from consumer complaints, right? So the consumer gets their receipt, they go home and they think, wait a second, and they look at the receipt and it says non-cash adjustment, $4.63. And they take that along with maybe a picture of the sign from the store and they send that into their bank. That goes to Visa. That creates a compliance complaint, which now works its way down through and back down to the ISO or the acquirer, maybe even to the merchant with an issue with the program. And they said, well, hey, that was a debit card. You added something to a debit card. Well, with this program, by removing it from the receipt and not having that separate line item, some people would say, well, that's not as clear, it's not as transparent. Well, you still have the signs up, and the signs basically say, we are offering a cash discount, so all the subtotals have reflect our 3.99% price increase. If you pay with cash, you're going to get this discount. The interesting thing is that actually this program in some ways is easier for consumers to understand because when they pay with cash, they actually do get the discount. Like one of the issues merchants have brought up is that the cash discount programs we've had in the past, a lot of times the consumers don't like it because they're like, wait, I thought you said I got a discount if I pay with cash. I just paid with cash. Like we weren't thinking about the cash paying customers. They get their receipt and it's like, well, it was $100 on the shelf and I paid $100. Yeah, what happened? I thought I got a cash discount, right? Well, now with this new approach with smart terminals and POS, we can actually program it so that it's like, the new price, like we said in our sign, went from 100 to 103, but because you paid with cash, you actually got a cash discount, which shows on the receipt as a line item, and well, lo and behold, you paid $100, and they're like, "Look at that! I got a discount. I paid with cash." So this whole idea of basically swapping, instead of showing the non-cash adjustment and the service fee, instead of showing that as a line item on the receipt, instead we're showing the cash discount as the receipt on the receipt as a line item when they pay with cash. So a little bit more of a complex topic today. Those of you that have been kind of involved in this, you understand what I'm talking about here. But I think this is the direction the industry is going. I would highly encourage you to look into this if you're offering these programs, whether that's with a smart terminal app or a point of sale system. It's a very powerful way to make your program more compliant, in my personal opinion, and also to dramatically reduce consumer complaints in terms of compliance for having a cash discount program that applies to signature debit cards. There you go. Non-cash adjustment service fees off the receipt, cash discount on the receipt. Have an awesome day.